Ha guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Jimmy Butler leads streaking Warriors into meeting with Magic. Jimmy Butler and the surging Golden State Warriors open a 5-game road trip Thursday with a visit to Orlando. The Warriors are 6-1 since acquiring Butler and have climbed to 8th in the Western Conference, just a half game behind the 6th place Los Angeles Clippers. Butler hit just 6 points in the Warriors' 128-92 win over Charlotte on Tuesday night, well off his average of 18 since joining the team, but has lifted the Warriors with his defense and leadership. Obviously we found something and it's exciting, Golden State coach Steve C said on Tuesday, but we can't get too excited because there's a lot of work ahead. 24 games to go. We are trying to climb the ladder and we have to keep it going. While Golden State is climbing the ladder, the Magic have fallen off at 117-9 and third in the East. Orlando has dropped to 7th, 4 games behind 6th place. Detroit. The Magic are coming off their worst loss of the season, a 40-point blowout against the Cavaliers on Tuesday. We got ran off the floor, simple as that, Magic star Paolo Banchero said after the defeat. Banchero missed a big chunk of the season with an oblique injury, and the Magic also lost Moritz Wagner to a torn ACL just before Christmas. On top of that, they're without guard Jalen Suggs, who has missed the last 13 games with a quad injury. The Magic are 9-6 this season without Suggs in the lineup. We'll practice tomorrow, we'll get after it, we'll compete, and we'll figure out how we get game on Thursday, said Magic coach Jamal Mosley. But tomorrow is going to be a practice that we get after it and we understand exactly what we need to do, getting back to the basics, back to the fundamentals, a simple physical aggressive style of Orlando Magic basketball that we need to play. Banchero is second on the Magic with 23 points per game, and the club still leads the NBA in team defense, giving up an average of 105.5 points per contest. Orlando, though, ranks last in scoring at just 103.9 points. Adding to Orlando's woes, guard Cole Anthony hyperextended his left knee against Cleveland and was slated to be re-evaluated on Wednesday. Anthony is listed as questionable for Thursday's matchup with the Warriors. Mosley is searching for any good signs. We didn't play our style of basketball, we look at it, we'll practice hard to tomorrow and get back to work. That's what we know, and that's what's going to help us figure out some of these LOLs and some of these situations, and we'll go from there. The Warriors were without forward Jonathan Kuminga in Tuesday's win over Charlotte while he deals with an ankle injury. Golden State has 8 players averaging double figures, led by Steph Curry at 23.3 points per game after starting 12-3 before leveling off. There is cautious optimism for Golden State, which has seemingly hit its stride since the Butler trade. I'm excited, we have a great opportunity here against some good teams. Kerr said we finally have some momentum again since our early season run. It's a great chance for us to take this on the road and keep things going. Golden State down the Magic 104-99 on February 3rd in San Francisco. 3 things to note as the Mavs return home to play the Hornets following an emotionally draining 2-game road trip. The Dallas Mavericks 31-28 9th in the Western Conference returned to the somewhat friendly confines of the American Airlines Center to play host to the Charlotte Hornets 14-43. The Mavericks lost both games on the road, starting with a 126-102 mat mashing at the hands of the Golden State Warriors and ending with Luka Doncic's Los Angeles Lakers, who took down the Mavericks 107-99 in a game where Dallas fell behind by as much as 16 points. It's now time to turn the page over to the next game, and here's a few things to know as you gear up for this one. If you thought the Mavericks' 2-game stretch was bad, well, allow me to introduce you to the recent 3-game stretch that the Hornets have played in. Losses to the Portland Trail Blazers 141-88, Sacramento Kings 13-88, and Golden State Warriors 128-92. Charlotte has been outscored by a combined 131 points for CBS Sports. That is the worst scoring margin over a 3-game stretch in NBA history. Even with that, you don't have to think too far back to remember these same Hornets delivering the Mavericks a crushing 110-105 loss in Charlotte back on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Dallas melted down pretty hard in that game as they scored just 3 points over the last 530 of game time. Dallas also got boat raced from deep in that one, with Charlotte outscoring the Mavericks 51-8 from behind. The long line focus is going to be the name of the game in this contest, especially given the emotions that the team will be carrying home with them from their quick West Coast trip. The Mavericks are going to be overwhelming favorites in this game. The Hornets are positioning themselves for lottery balls and holding half their roster out of every game. Very injured at the moment, so once the Mavericks will have a personnel advantage if the Mavs are serious about trying to pull themselves out of the play-in tournament. This game will be done and dusted by the end of the third quarter, but at the end of the day, style points do not matter in the NBA. The only thing that does matter is putting another tally in the win column. Kevin Durant turns head with fresh take on Warriors trade this summer. Kevin Durant didn't want to trade to the Golden State Warriors ahead of the NBA's February 6th deadline, but his tune on a return to the Bay Area has changed meaningfully in the 3 weeks since Durant appeared on the Draymond Green Show with Baron Davis on Wednesday, February 26th, and opened up to his former teammate about why he didn't want to leave the Phoenix Suns mid-season with just 1 year remaining on his contract and the Suns struggling to remain in the Western Conference playoff picture. They currently occupy 11th place, 2.5 games and 1 spot out of the NBA's playing tournament. Durant softened his stance from a full veto of a trade back to the Warriors to figuring it out this summer. I didn't want to move and I get why you want to trade me. Simple fact, that's business, Durant said, but for me, looking at it, we can play the season out, and if that's the decision you want to make in the off-season, then we figure it out. The Warriors gave up Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroeder, Lindy Waters III and a top 10 protected first-round pick in 2025 in order to get Butler. Golden State will need to rustle up enough player money to match Durant's $54.7 million salary in 2025-26, which could mean signing Jonathan Kuminga to a big extension and including him in the deal. The team will also need to put together a draft asset SL player package that could compete with other offers for Durant from around the NBA if he hits the trade block. I'm told that the Warriors remain confident that they have maintained far more flexibility than many of their rivals to make another big move either next off-season or at next year's trade deadline. Tim Kawakami wrote in the San Francisco Standard on February 7 they still have their first-round picks in 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029 and 2031 based on NBA rules. The Warriors can't trade all of those selections, but multiple first-rounders should allow Golden State the opportunity to get in on discussions for a player like Durant. Furthermore, the Warriors have been clear that they are prepared to go all in to maximize the remainder of Stephen Curry's tenure in the Bay. And you fan, what do you think of Kevin Durant's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.